Hello YouTube, this is Mike in Detroit. Let me get my camera straight here. Alright, I got that a little bit better. Today, I want to work a little bit more with my beginners, late beginners, to talk about two subjects that intertwine and come up a lot in musical situations, and that is diatonic harmony and a little bit on talk music. I want to have. So let's pick a key, maybe D flat. There's the 1, 2. Look at my virtual keyboards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's always your first step. Know your scale. So we're going to harmonize that scale just with triads, just with triads, 3-note chords, and we're going to, in this case, we're gonna put the note the scale degree that we're harmonizing on the top of the chord. So in other words, we're going to play all these triads in first inversion. So this is not necessarily jazz style. This is definitely gospel style. Although that would be the same in both genres. But so here's the 1 chord. So we capture that voicing exactly. Here's a 2 chord. So in my left hand, I'm just trailing bass notes. You can play one if you want to, or if you want to get more dramatic. But it's the right hand voicing I want you to get. G flat, B flat, E flat. Now on the 3 chord, we're going to play a 1/3. That's when you know you have went to gospel land. So far we got a 1. So on the 4 chord, we're going to play this. G flat, B flat, E flat, and G flat. Notice our top voice is walking up the scale. On the 5 chord, you got a choice. A lot of times you'll hear this. So that's a 1/5. Or you can hear this. So for today, let's do a 1/5. But you might want to practice both. On the 6th chord, we're going to play this voicing. D flat, G flat, B flat. And then we're going to play on the 7th chord, we're going to play a 5/7. It's good to know your numbers. And then we're back at the 1 chord. So that's the first step, is to get these kind of memorized. So play them up, play them down, play them different orders. Let's go to here. Just play the 1, 3, 4 progression. You hear lots of songs on a record or on the radio. They fancied and prettied up the chords so much, but you ought to be able to hear that progression and put it at your level. So For all this marketing stuff out there, just a comment. Just indulge me just for a second. Take your playing to the next level. And you get so frustrated and you don't sound like the next all baloney, all baloney, all baloney. Some of the simplest chords can sound just delightful too. So basically, I'm just breaking up those same chords. So I'm on the 2 chord, so I did this. So instead of playing at a block, I just broke them up as an arpeggio. You get the idea. Now you want to maybe spend a few minutes of your practice time working with diatonic harmony, and then take it to a different key. So the formula is what you need, even more so than the notes. So on the 1 chord, we got a 1 chord in first inversion. What if I did that in C? Can I take that 1 chord in first inversion to any key I want? How about this one? Here's a D chord, here's an E, here's an E flat chord, here's an E chord, here's an F chord, G flat. So I can do that triad in first inversion on any bass note I want. If I wanted G, A flat, A, B flat, B, and now we're back to C again. So that is you do that enough, and then your fingers just kind of know where to go. You can do that with a beat or without a beat, or now you want to put that to several chord progressions that you might know: 1-6-2-5, 3-6-2-5, 2-5-1s, etc. But the main thing is I wanted to, okay, let's talk a little bit about talk music. So, and I am going to get a little opinionated here, I know. So let's go back to the key of D flat. Oh, by the way, before I do that, you can also slip little melodies in between these chords. So let's go back to this. Here's our 1 chord, and here's our 2 chord. Well, I can slip a melody in there. Oops. So I can appreciate the chords, but I know that any note in that scale is available to me. So I am now on the 3 chord. So here's the notes that I'm playing with that 3 chord. So I just slipped a melody in there. And you notice my bass is, my left hand is supporting. on that triad diatonic harmony. And even if your playing goes to the next level, this was not a waste of time. Because all you're going to do is add more notes to this, what we just played. You're going to add different notes to what we just played. Okay, now another way to look at this is look at the, let's take this. So instead of playing this D flat, which we already have, we're going to go up here and get this. So we're playing like a sus2 chord, like this. Although we're losing that note, right? So start with this, reach up and get the second. Go here. Now we got this. So you can add a lot of color by finding the second of each one of those chords. You get the idea. A lot of improvisation comes to play here, so let your creativity be your guide. Okay, now talk music. To me, talk music is about two things: space and quiet. Bringing support. Maybe that's three things: space, support, and quiet. Quiet yourself down. Nobody cares how flashy you are. Nobody cares how good you can play. Right now, it's not about you. It's about supporting whatever's going on, whether it be a prayer, whether it be the announcements, whether it be somebody talking. So take your keyboard, put little strings on it, and I'm going to put little pads on there. And let's play the same thing we just played, right? Right? So, how do I get that more space? You see that note there? We call it drop two. We call it drop two, but I'm going to just say, lose the middle note, right? Lose that. See how that opens it up? If you want that A flat, you can play it here, right? But don't need it. Now we're going to do that same diatonic harmony right up the keyboard. So losing whatever the middle note is, just don't play it. Just don't play it. So you get the idea that you open the chord up a little bit, and you quiet yourself down. You almost like that. Throw a melody in. But not too much, because then you're going to start bringing attention to you, which is what you really don't want. None of that big bass note stuff. None of that. Okay. So if you have been following my YouTube channel, I have taught you several voicings regarding different chords. So let's say we want to play a D flat chord this way, because we're playing a song. We're get to the same place. Watch. That's a good voicing. So what are we going to do? We're going to put our pads on, right? We're going to put our pads back on, play the bass, and lose this time the middle two notes. Lose that. Yeah. Now we're going to get to the same place. In other words, you don't want dense, crunchy kinds of thing. Now when you're playing a song, you do. But when as soon as you move to talk music, whatever voicing you want, or whatever voicing you're used to playing, you just open it up by just playing the outside of it. This time we don't have the root on the top. Last time we did. We had that. Either way works. As long as you have your chord open, spaced out a little bit, and you quiet down, you're probably going to be all right. Now, your ears have to be on a swivel. You really do. Your ears have to be on a swivel. You have to know when the speaker is concluding, if there's a crescendo going on, where to fit yourself. It's like accompanying a singer almost. So when do you move from chord to chord is what I'm trying to get at. So let's take this one. All right, so somebody's saying welcome. You can hold that. Wait for a space and wait for them to take a breath, then you move. And then they talk, and it's like a dance. What if they're saying something that is sad? It's kind of sad. It's kind of prayerful. It's kind of melancholy. It's kind of. Then you might want to emphasize minor chords in that instance. You might want to go here. So I was thinking that E flat minor. That's a 2 chord. Now, I might play it in a song like this, but I left these 2 notes out and just played that outside to open it up. That's an F minor. So now I might skip that G flat major because that's a happy chord. Maybe I'll go to this. Maybe I'll go back and forth. Here's an F minor to a B flat minor. Version of the same chord. So I'm emphasizing minors because I can hear that whatever they're talking about, maybe there's a funeral coming up okay, so now let's say they're talking about something happy. Okay, so we're having a barbecue on Saturday in the parking lot. Okay, there's nothing sad about that. So now I might want to emphasize more of the major chords. I might want to go to the 4 chord there. A whole different mood when you do. You see what I'm trying to say is, now you can put mixtures together. You don't have to always play all majors and all minors, but where you're putting your emphasis, because you can hear what they're trying to say. Now, if you're playing with a band, you got to get this together up front. But a lot of times when you're in church settings, a person is responsible for it's the organist or the pianist. Could be the guitarist. Everybody else just stops playing because one person, because you don't know where you're going to go. There's no way you can pre-plan this. You don't know, you might go any place. tools you can use to get you there. Now, let me get a little bit more advanced. And don't hang up, you beginners and intermediates. Don't hang up. I want to try an experiment with you. So, just to show you how beautiful this thing called the piano really is. So let's play a C major chord in your left hand, right? Right? Like that. Now I want you to step on your pedal so you can hold it, right? And play a C minor chord in your right hand. Make sure you play it delicately. Well, that's actually an E flat chord. Let's try C minor chord. Let's take it down and let's do this. Listen to that. You would think that wouldn't work. C major, C minor. Together, listen to that. Now, I want you in your practice time to try this experiment. If a C major is your bass, almost any chord you can find will work against that. Let's do something at random. Let's do a D flat chord. Dark. Listen to it. Kind of dark. In other words, you're on a sound discovery here. Let's try an A flat chord. Same C bass down here. Let's try a F chord. How about a B flat chord? In other words, I'm picking chords at random. How about a G flat chord? How about some of the sharp chords? How about a D or an A? Keep doing that. Don't think about a key. Don't think about time. This is all rubato. Don't think about 4/4 time or any kind of time. You're just exploring here. I call this doodling. So now I'm playing a D chord over C. How about a minor chord? Well, that is definitely going to work because that's in the key. That's a D minor triad over C. But let's try an E flat minor. And come back. So what does this have to do with anything? You can come up with some talk music sounds with these little triads. Okay, so that's just with a C bass. Or let's put a D flat bass. See what we come up with. You can get very sophisticated. Let's put a D bass. I'm just picking triads at random. Let's try a E flat bass, right? And now on my right hand, I am randomly picking triads. Let's try it. You won't like all of them, but a lot of them you will. I don't know why this is so. I really don't. I don't know why this works, but I know that it does. Now it takes a touch. Don't be, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Ooh. So when you hear something that your head goes, ooh, what am I doing here? That's interesting. That's an E flat in my left hand and a D my right hand. Now don't fall for the trap trying to analyze too much of this. Don't say that's an E flat sharp 11 flat. No, don't do that. All you know is it's a D over E flat. You can kind of figure out where these notes relate to each other. E flat. So I got to step down. Let's try a D flat over E flat. Nothing but triads. So this gets a little bit more sophisticated. And so this is a sharp knife. If somebody is speaking, you got to handle this with some care, and some pre-thought has to go into this. Let's try an F bass. Let's try a G over F. Gives me a little sus sound. Let's try a D over F. Oh, nice. Now, if you find one you don't like, I think they all have a flavor. Let's put a little pad under it and see if we can make it sound even better. Let's try an E bass. Now let's go back to F bass. Look at the infinite combinations you can come up with. With nothing but triads. Let's try an A over F. Interesting. Let's invert that. Interesting. That's an E over F. So it's something to dabble around with. Kind of an interesting sound palette for your ears, but I wanted to do that with you because a lot of you are trying to support in background music. If you're kind of new to this, then stick with the key. Stick with the key, what I was discussing earlier. But if you want to branch out a little bit, get a bass under you. Now, I put triads as the bass. You don't have to. You can just put a bass note as the bass. So let's say we put an F. Well, what triad can I play over that? Take your pick. I'm just walking down chromatically now, so I'm going to play all of them. All of this over this F. Those are major triads. I can do minor triads if I wanted to. Let's see. Let's do this. Ooh. All over what we call pedal point. Now, before I was putting triads over triads. This time I'm just putting bass notes. If you get too far out there, you're going to violate my first rule. Excuse me. You're going to start bringing attention to yourself. So you really want to quiet this down if it's talk music. For you composers out there, you might come up with a sound you like. And next thing you know, you got a hit song on your hands, or you got a background for a poet, or whatever. Okay, so just by way of review, learn your diatonic harmony in all 12 keys. And then we made the diatonic harmony the melody. So if we're on the one chord, we just put that at the top. I like that. If you want to go further, then do second inversion. and then just take that out. Now you have the who says you got to be advanced to play in church? Who said? Who made up that rule? I would answer that, but I would come. Drop it in the comments if this was helpful to you, and we will see all of you on the next video. All right. Be blessed. Take care. Bye-bye.